Hi, so for my current events, I chose two articles, one about Texas laws and like investigations on child abuse by parents who are allowing their child to take hormones or take transgender surgeries, and the other one is an England article about how they closed down one of the biggest youth transgender treatment facilities in England, so they could look at other options for the children and that effect on mental health. So throughout history and time, adults and those of older generations are constantly telling younger people that they don't know enough and that they're not experienced enough to have a say in their own lives because they're minors. I argue that while these minors cannot entirely make decisions by themselves, they cannot be counted out of the conversation entirely. These conversations are about their lives, and no one else should be able to tell a child what gender they should identify by. If they want to explore these surgeries and these hormones, then they should first be educated on their options, both the good and the bad, and then they can start to make their own choices, or at least have a say with the parents from there. So in the first article, basically there was a custody battle between a mother and a father about what gender their child wanted to identify as, because the mother wanted to let them identify and take hormones and the father disagreed. Ended up the mother getting custody, and basically it just blew up, and there was an Idaho bill passed in like the Idaho House that allowed for parents who let their child take these surgeries or take hormones to be punishable by life in prison. And this allowed Governor Abbott and Texas to just start all of these investigations in the care of transgender youth and their parents and child abuse based upon how parents were letting their child identify. So if they would let their child take hormones or have a surgery, it would be counted as child abuse. And then in the England article, I'll read here, the National Health Services in England announced that they were shutting down the country's only youth gender clinic in favor of a more distributed and comprehensive network of medical care for adolescents seeking hormones and other gender treatments. Now, the problem with both of these cases, while England was closing theirs down to look for better options and better, safer options, they both had the same impact. They were both taking away the right for transgender youth to change their body and to identify as the gender that they feel they need to be. It creates awful gender body dysmorphia, and as a result, there's higher rates in depression and mental illness. And you can't just take away someone's right to identify as who they are inside and not also have mental health problems. As said in the England article, Miss Green, who is an England citizen, said she has a transgender adult daughter, said the group was concerned about whether or not mental health services would be prioritized over medical care. Gender diversity, she said, should not be treated as a mental disorder. They're closing down the outlet for these people to identify and to embrace themselves because they feel like they shouldn't have a say, and as a result, there's gonna be more mental health problems, there's gonna be more suicides, and there's gonna be more depression. And instead of taking away all of these options, we should be educating our youth and being like, hey, here is this option, and this is the consequences and the good and bad of it, and also here's another option, and we should let them have a say in their own right to change their body and to identify as they want, and not just let parents override because they know better and they're older. You can't know how someone else feels without being that person. And I think that is just a huge problem that we hear all over the world, is listening to our youth and letting them identify as they need to be.